All right, let's dive in. We're going to talk about a very specific kind of person today. The one who always, and I mean always, has a plan B. Whether that's you or maybe someone you know, you're about to get a much deeper understanding of the fascinating psychology that's really driving this habit.
So, does this sound familiar? You know that little nagging thought? You can't fully relax on vacation until you've mentally mapped out all the emergency exits, or you've considered every possible thing that could go sideways. Yeah? That safety-first mindset isn't just a quirk, it's actually a really deep-seated psychological pattern.
You know, a lot of people might look at this trait and just call it pessimism, or say you're not spontaneous. But what if that's a total misunderstanding? The psychological reality is way more complex. It's not about being negative. It's actually about high-level reasoning and a really fundamental need for control. This isn't a flaw, it's a feature of how some minds are wired.
To really get this, let's start with what we'll call the cognitive engine. You know, the mental hardware that's driving this whole behavior. We're going to look at how your brain is actually wired to process the world around you.
Okay, so the very first habit is running constant mental simulations. It's kind of like having a supercomputer in your head that's just always asking, but what if? While other people might just be in the moment, your mind is busy, internally running through all the possibilities and prepping for a bunch of different outcomes. And look, this isn't about just worrying for no reason. It's a seriously sophisticated reasoning skill. By running all these simulations, you're just trying to stay one step ahead of things. The feeling is, if you can predict a problem, well then you can handle it. It's your brain's strategy to avoid getting blindsided by life's little surprises.
This way of thinking also completely changes how you see the world, and even the words you use. People who think in backup plans almost never deal in absolutes, which is why this idea is so on point. Smart thinkers rarely use words like always or never.
Right, so instead of making some absolute statement like this is going to fail, you're much more likely to think in probabilities, constantly weighing the odds. This is a sign of what's called cognitive flexibility, the ability to adjust your thinking as you get new information. A plan B only exists because you've already accepted that, hey, nothing is 100% certain.
So we've looked at the cognitive hardware. Now, let's get into the software, the emotional blueprint and the psychological needs that are really fueling this entire process. A massive driver for any Plan B thinker is a powerful need for autonomy. I mean, the idea of being stuck with zero options. That can feel like a direct threat to your independence. You just don't want to be at the mercy of someone else's mistake. So, a backup plan isn't just about being organized. It's about protecting your freedom to choose.
But living in a state of constant preparedness, it has a cost. Being surrounded by constant uncertainty and unexpected changes is mentally exhausting. So when life gets chaotic, your brain naturally starts looking for ways to reduce that pressure.
And a backup plan becomes the perfect solution. It's a psychological shield. It's like an emotional safety net, a form of self-regulation that keeps your stress levels way down. You know that even if that first door closes, hey, you've already unlocked a second one. It's how you can stay calm when everyone else might be panicking. And this need for self-reliance, it often goes way back to childhood. A lot of people with this trait grew up as hyper-independent problem solvers. They might have been the easy child, the one who learned to just figure things out on their own to avoid being a burden. This extreme self-reliance just carries right on into adulthood. Your Plan B becomes your ultimate guarantee of self-sufficiency. It makes sure that no matter what happens, the most reliable person you can count on, which is yourself, is always ready.
So what ties all of this together? Well, there's one final core habit. It's having a mind that it never rests.
If you're a Plan B person, you probably have what psychologists call an active mind. It's just constantly thinking, analyzing, processing. You see the potential for failure where other people just see a smooth road. You notice all the tiny cracks and inefficiencies that most people just miss. And yeah, while this can be exhausting, it's also what makes you so incredibly prepared.
So there you have it. 6 interconnected psychological habits. You're constantly running mental simulations, you're thinking in probabilities instead of absolutes, and you're driven by this deep need for autonomy and self-reliance, which often acts as a psychological shield, and it all stems from a mind that simply doesn't switch off.
So if any of this sounds like you, just remember this. You are not being difficult. You're not too much. You are simply wired to see the world with a much higher level of detail and a deeper need for stability.
The final question then is really this. How can you lean into this trait? How can you turn this innate need for preparation not into a source of anxiety, but into your single greatest strength?
Because once you really understand the why behind your wiring, you can truly start to harness its power.